right now somewhere in Shenzhen. A chip is running that Nvidia was never supposed to let exist. Not a knockoff, a real AI chip built entirely inside China. Now, powering the servers of some of the biggest tech companies on Earth. And the strangest part is this: it exists, mainly because the United States spent years trying to stop it from ever existing at all. In 2026, Chinese firms placed billions of dollars in orders for homegrown AI chips instead of Nvidia's. Nvidia's own finance chief confirmed the company is shipping 0 of its most advanced chips into China this year. 0 for a company that once controlled 95% of that market. That is not a rounding error. That is a company watching its biggest customer walk out the door and build its own supplier instead. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how China built a chip good enough to make Silicon Valley nervous. Now let's go back to where this story actually begins, because it starts with a man nobody expected to win. Ren Zhengfei grew up poor in rural China, one of 7 children, in a family that sometimes did not have enough food to go around. He served as a military engineer before starting a small trading company in Shenzhen in 1987, with the equivalent of a few $1,000s. He has said openly that he did not start the company chasing some ground dream. He started it because he needed to survive. That company was Huawei. For decades it grew quietly, building phone networks and eventually smartphones, until by 2019, it had become the second largest smartphone maker on the planet, right behind Apple. Then the United States government decided Huawei was a national security threat and cut it off. Washington blocked Huawei from buying American chips or using American chip-making software. A year later, the world's most important chip factory, TSMC in Taiwan, was forced to stop supplying Huawei entirely. Almost overnight, the company that beat Apple in phone sales could not get the parts to build a phone. Imagine running a restaurant that suddenly cannot buy a stove, a fridge, or even basic ingredients, and being told to keep serving customers anyway. That was Huawei's reality in 2020. Ren later said, "This crisis was still easier than the poverty he survived as a child." But even he admitted the company's future was not guaranteed. He told employees years later, in a moment of surprising honesty, that even now, the company could not say for certain it had secured its survival. Huawei quietly began redesigning thousands of circuit boards and replacing over 13,000 band components with anything it could design or build in-house. It even built its own operating system after losing access to Google software, and its own business software after losing access to foreign tools. This is the part of the story most people miss. The sanctions were not just an attack on Huawei. They were the spark that forced an entire country to build its own chip industry from scratch, with one company leading the charge out of pure necessity. And that is exactly what happened next. Inside Huawei sits a chip design division called HiSilicon, founded back in 2004, long before anyone imagined it would matter this much. After the sanctions hit, HiSilicon became the center of Huawei's survival plan, and its most important project became a line of AI chips called Ascend. Think of an AI chip the way you would think of an engine. The bigger and more efficient the engine, the more work you can do at once, and the faster you can train. The kind of massive AI systems that power chatbots, image generators, and self-driving software. For years, Nvidia built the best engines on the planet, and almost nobody else came close. Huawei's answer was the Ascend 910 Tami-C, and by 2025, the company was struggling to manufacture enough of them because of a missing piece. Nobody talks about outside the chip industry, the machines used to carve these chips. Bloomberg reported that Huawei planned to roughly 9,910C production in 2026, aiming for around 600,000 chips, with total Ascend output climbing as high as 1.6 million dies across the whole product line. That is not a research project anymore. That is an assembly line. Here is the part that sounds almost impossible once you understand it. The most advanced chip factories in the world use a specific kind of machine called an EUV lithography system. Only one company on Earth makes them, a Dutch firm called ASML, and the United States has blocked ASML from selling its newest machines to China. Without that tool, most experts assumed China simply could not produce chips advanced enough to compete. It would be like trying to build a modern skyscraper with only hand tools. China's largest chip factory, a company called SMC, refused to accept that. Instead of the newest machines, engineers there took older equipment called deep ultraviolet lithography and ran the same silicon wafer through it multiple times, using a technique called multiple patterning, picture tracing over the same drawing several times, with a slightly different stencil each pass, until the fine detail finally appears. It is slower, it is more expensive, and the yield, meaning how many working chips come out of each batch, is far lower than what Taiwan or South Korea achieve. Industry estimates suggest SMC's advanced chip yields land somewhere between 15 and 40%, compared to well over 90% for the best factories elsewhere. But low yield is not the same as no chips. By mid-2025, SMC had used this method to produce working 5-nanometer chips for Huawei, without a single EUV machine involved. It was expensive, it was inefficient, and it worked well enough to build the next generation of Ascent chips. A former vice president at TSMC, the very factory that once supplied Huawei, told Bloomberg it was simply not possible for the United States to completely prevent China from improving its chip technology. Meanwhile, China poured tens of billions of dollars into a national semiconductor fund, specifically to keep this workaround running, treating a manufacturing shortcut as a matter of national priority, rather than a temporary patch. That brings us to the chip that actually shocked people watching this race closely. In April 2026, Huawei unveiled its newest AI chip, the Ascend 950PR, at a partner event in Shenzhen. On paper, the chip delivers roughly 1.5 petaflops of processing power, with over 100 gigabytes of high-speed memory attached, putting it in the same conversation as some of Nvidia's most powerful chips. According to industry analysts who benchmarked it, it is not faster than Nvidia's absolute best hardware. Nobody serious claims that. Think of it less like a sports car overtaking a faster one on the highway, and more like a reliable delivery van that never gets stuck at customs. It does not need to win the drag race. It just needs to show up every single time, without anyone in Washington able to block the shipment. That is the part that makes it genuinely dangerous to Nvidia's position, more than the raw specs on a slide. And that turned out to be enough. Alibaba and Tencent placed major orders. ByteDance alone reportedly committed over $5.5 billion to Huawei chips for its data centers. Baidu is folding the chips into its own AI infrastructure. Chris Miller, the historian who wrote the definitive book on the global chip war, said ByteDance, spending that kind of money on Huawei is not just a purchase. It is a statement that China's biggest AI companies are building their future on domestic silicon. By some estimates, Huawei's Ascend line is on track to capture roughly 60% of the AI chip market inside China by the end of 2026, with total revenue projected past $12 billion. So let us pause and recap where we are. A sanctioned company using a workaround factory made a chip good enough that China's largest tech giants are betting billions on it, instead of Nvidia. Now here is where Nvidia's side of the story gets interesting, because this was not supposed to happen this fast. For years, China was one of Nvidia's most important markets. Jensen Huang, Nvidia's chief executive officer, has said the company once held about 95% market share there, before export restrictions began cutting into it, and Nvidia tried to adapt. It built a stripped-down chip called the H20, specifically weakened so it could legally be sold into China, and still sold roughly 1 million of them in 2024 alone. But the restrictions kept tightening. In 2026, Nvidia received US approval to sell its more powerful H200 chip into China, and Jensen Huang personally traveled to Beijing to help close the deal. At one point, getting mobbed by a crowd while trying to eat noodles on the street. But the chips still have not meaningfully shipped. Chinese regulators reportedly began discouraging domestic companies from relying on Nvidia hardware at all, pushing them instead toward homegrown chips, while US rules simultaneously restrict how those same chips can be used once they arrive. The result is a strange standoff where both governments, for opposite reasons, are making it harder for Nvidia to sell into the world's second largest economy. On a recent earnings call, Nvidia's own finance chief confirmed the company is now planning for zero H20 shipments to China this year. Zero, in a market Jensen Huang has called a $50 billion opportunity, growing as much as 50% a year. So does this actually mean the end of Nvidia? Here is where we need to be honest instead of dramatic, because the real picture is more interesting than a simple win or lose story. Outside of China, Nvidia remains the dominant force in AI computing by an enormous margin, powering nearly every major AI lab in the United States, Europe and beyond. Analysts who track this space directly have said they do not expect an abrupt global switch away from Nvidia hardware, because the software ecosystem built around Nvidia chips over the last 15 years is still deeply embedded almost everywhere outside China. Ren Zhengfei himself admitted last year that China's individual chips still lag, roughly one generation behind the best American hardware, even as the country closes the computing gap through raw scale and government-backed investment. Think of it less like China building a faster race car, and more like China building enough slightly slower cars to fill every garage in the country, while refusing to wait for a faster one to arrive. What has genuinely changed is not who makes the fastest chip on the planet. It is who China depends on to keep building its own AI industry. For the first time since the AI boom began, the world's second largest economy is training its most important AI systems, including models like DeepSeek, largely on chips it designed and built inside its own borders, using a factory process nobody thought could work without machines it is not allowed to buy. That is the real headline hiding underneath the flashy one. Not the death of Nvidia, and not some overnight collapse of Silicon Valley, but the quiet end Bompan offered, 20-year assumption that China would always be forced to buy someone else's engine to run its own future. For Nvidia, the challenge now is holding on to everywhere else, while a $50 billion market slips further out of reach every quarter for the rest of the world. The real question stops being which chip is fastest today, and starts being what happens once two separate AI ecosystems, one built on Nvidia and one built on Huawei, start training the next generation of artificial intelligence, side by side, answering to two very different governments. That split is already happening. What we do not know yet is how far it goes. Here is why this matters even if you never buy a chip in your life. Chinese AI lab DeepSeek grabbed global headlines by training a competitive AI model, while working under real hardware constraints, and it relies on the same domestic chip ecosystem. SMIC and Huawei are building out. Chipmaker Cambricom, a smaller domestic rival to Huawei, saw its own revenue jump past $400 million in a single quarter, a sign that this is not a one-company story. It is an entire industry rising at once. Every country now watching this standoff, from countries across the Middle East to nations across Southeast Asia, faces the same quiet decision Chinese companies already made: build AI infrastructure on American chips, with American software and American rules attached, all build on a Chinese alternative that is one generation behind, but improving every year and free from Washington's export list. 10 years ago, that was not really a choice at all. Nvidia was simply the only serious option on the table for anyone building real artificial intelligence. Today, it is an actual decision with two real paths, and that alone is the deepest story most people watching. The flashy chip announcements are completely missing. So here is the question worth sitting with. If China can now build its own AI chips, well enough to power its biggest tech companies, without Nvidia at all, what happens to every other country? That still depends on American chips to build their own AI future. Drop your honest answer in the comments below. And if this gave you something new to think about today, subscribe so you don't miss what we cover next, because this particular story is only just getting started.